My name is Alyssa Casey. This is Quarterscale Legends, and today we have a very special episode for you. One that we've never done before, and we really hope you enjoy it. On our last episode, we took an in-depth look at Rick's RC Stadium truck, which you may notice is still behind me today. And that's because we have a very special guest. We have Rick Tebbs himself. Hi.
Hi, Alyssa.
It's really good to have you here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's great to have you here today. Thank you for coming, gracing us with your presence, with your stuff, with your everything. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Alyssa. Thank you so much for having me, for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, this is the first time that we've done this on the show. We've had the opportunity to have somebody here. Especially someone as cool as you. No, not to give you a big ego or anything, but we are excited. It's been great talking to you so far. And I think the audience would just be interested to know from your own mouth, kind of the history of Rick's RC, how it started, what it means to you, what role you played in the Quarterscale community.
Okay, well, I'll try to keep this short. Basically, back in the early or the mid 80s, I was interested in RC car racing. Mm-hmm. And I did 10th scale and 8th scale, and then when I found out about Quarterscale, I remember going to a Pasadena hobby show, and they had a lot of Quarterscale cars there, and when I saw those, I was just smitten, for lack of a better word. I fell in love with them, and I never got over it, and to this day, I still am just fascinated with them. Well, there's so many manufacturers out there now, 5th scale and 6th scale. And these guys make beautiful products. They're well engineered, they perform very well and all that. But nothing is like Quarterscale, and I don't know really how to put it other than it's just more realistic than anything else.
They handle like the big cars. They crash like the big cars. And they excite like the big cars.
The people that are in this sport aren't just out there to race cars, but they're very creative and innovative people. And I love that part of it. I'd love to see what the ideas they come up with. It was always fun for me when we would go to the races. I'd see people that I knew and to see the changes they made in their cars and how they improved things and that constant improvement. I loved that. And the realism of these Quarterscale cars, nothing even came close to it. Still not. Even to this day, nothing comes close to the realism of Quarterscale. Mm-hmm. All the other scales are plastic. Mm-hmm. They don't seem to be as authentic and realistic as these Quarterscale cars. And when I saw what you could do with these things, I mean, the truck is a good example. Yeah. The guy that built the chassis for this was actually the head engineer at Rancho Suspension. Mm-hmm. And it took him about 6 months working on this. And then when we got it fixed and put together, and we took it out in back of his house because he had a big yard back there. And we just tried to beat the heck out of it to see if we could destroy it. And it held up really, pretty well. I knew we had a winner, but then the marker just sort of tapered off. For me, I grew up in the 60s. We loved to have mag wheels on our cars, and I noticed nobody had mag wheels on their Quarterscale cars. So I decided I was going to go to a company a machine shop close to me. I told them what I wanted. I wanted some centerline wheels, I wanted some drag star wheels, I wanted some Indy wheels, I wanted some Grand National wheels. And I said I want to start marketing these in the industry, see how well they do. So these guys made them. They were beautiful. They did flawless work. So I started selling the wheels, and I sort of got my foot in the doors of all the companies. I was fortunate enough to live in near Santa Ana, where most of these guys were. So I was in El Segundo. I would make the drive out there every weekend and talk to these guys and race with them and be part of all that. It was heaven to me. I just loved it. It was very exciting, especially for me. I wanted nothing more than to be part of it. I had a dental laboratory at the time that was taking a lot of my time. I was working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I made time for this, and I made and sold these wheels in the evening. you know, and I got started doing it with just selling them to the local manufacturers and the people at the racetrack. As time went on, I realized that I could put an ad in the magazine and hit a bigger audience. So I took an ad out in RC Car Action magazine, and within a month, I was selling wheels internationally. Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, England. It was amazing that people responded as well as they did.
Yeah.
It just showed me that there was a market for them and people wanted something to dress up their cars. It's kind of the nature, I think, of hot rodders. They're constantly working on their cars. They constantly want to make it a little faster, a little prettier, a little more durable. They're always looking for something to improve it. To me, these wheels were sort of the direction I wanted to go. Quite frankly, if it would have lasted longer, I would have gone into more products and more parts and so on, you know, to improve the cars.
Sure. So where do you see Quarterscale going from here? And where would you like to see Quarterscale in the
From the
future?
first time I saw Quarterscale cars, I always had this vision, and I don't know why, but I know that since I was around in the 60s and saw hot rod cars growing up, there was a period of time there where hot rod cars were very popular, and the guys that raced them and built them were engineers, and they were masters at building fast racing cars, but none of them seemed to have any knowledge of marketing or of sales or anything like that, how to promote their products. And so the market kind of died out. Well, roll forward maybe 10, 15 years, and SEMA comes along, especially the Equipment Manufacturers Association. They took what was a dying industry and revived it because they had the knowledge to market, to sell, and to get to the public that the other people didn't. And I sort of equated that with the Quarterscale cars. I always thought, yes, it's going under, but to me, it never died. It just went to sleep.
Right, I love that.
I want to bring it back. I think it's got a big future. The fact that your video did as well as it did, very encouraging.
That's great. And so that kind of brings us to why you're here today.
Well, as it turns out, I'm very excited to announce that we've got a special set of 35th anniversary Rick's RC wheels. These are a collector's edition. They're limited numbers in 25, will be serialized and have a special engraving on them, giving them a serial number and a Rick's RC logo on them. They will come with a special letter from me, hand-signed, thanking you for buying the wheels and for keeping the sport alive. A few of the details of these special anniversary wheels. So they come in a 3 and a 4-inch width. The 3-inch has a 2-inch offset, and the 4-inch is centered right in the middle of the wheel. They come satin finish, and you can easily polish them to make them look just like chrome. We have put special Torx bolts on these instead of the original ones that had Allen bolts, so that they're easily disassembled and easy to put back together. And they're made in the USA by the same manufacturer that made them originally for us 35 years ago. One special feature about them too is that they are fully compatible with all of the original wheels.
What does it mean to you to be able to sell your wheels again and to have people interested in them? Like,
I appreciate that question. I have loved this sport ever since I saw the car, so the opportunity to reintroduce it to the world and try to make it a little more user-friendly, for lack of a better term, so that more people know about it. I think it just started back in the 80s. I think it's got so much growth and potential in it right now. So to have these wheels come out now and to be with you right now, being on this interview, I am so grateful for it. I think this is going to do extremely well. I know it's going to, and there's a lot of potential here for these cars. We just need to get it out there and let people know about them.
I hope we can do that. And we really appreciate you being here.
Thank
Genuinely.
you so much.
This was really fun. It was a good time. It was great hearing your stories. I really loved it.
Thank you.
It's just good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
If you're interested in purchasing a set of the special 35th anniversary Rick's RC wheels, go to the description below. You'll find a link where you can fill out a form to purchase them. Now remember, there's only 25 sets, so if you want one, you gotta get one. When they're gone, they're gone. This is a very special run.
Hey Rick, appreciate you coming today.
Mike, my friend, thank you so much for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My name is Alyssa Casey. This was Quarterscale Legends, and I hope to see you around the bend. If you had one last message to put out there, I mean, what would you say to people?
Well, if I understand what you're asking, I think I would love to get more exposure out there because I know there's still a market, a lot of young guys out there building cars now. They aren't the old hot rods of the old days. There's so many young kids out there now that are still working with cars.
Yeah.
And I think if they could be exposed to something like this and we could take these cars, I think the Quarterscale cars are very versatile in the fact that they're not just going to be off-road trucks or Grand National cars, but we can make drifters, we can make lowriders, we can make, any kind of car you want, and we can make it more realistic and more authentic.
Yeah.
And, the interesting thing was I looked into making some lowrider cars many years ago. And I remember going around to some of the shops that actually did the lowrider cars, and I asked these guys, I said, how much money do these guys spend on these cars? The guy said, probably around $20,000. And I thought, wow, if these kids have that kind of money, and this is a whole new group of kids coming up,
Yeah.
why aren't we making lowrider cars in this too?
Right.
Because we could do the hydraulics,
Yeah.
pneumatics in this case, and make them perform just like that. So it lends itself to so many different other motorsports. Quarterscale is going to come back, I don't doubt it. It's going to come back.